Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS, which is a software for high school athletes that are trying to get athletic scholarships. We do not charge for the software, so down below I give you a code, I give you instructions for how to use the code. Please use our software. We're going to give you the best opportunity to discover the schools, the colleges that you academically qualify to attend. Have your sport at the level you want to participate, at the collegiate level you believe you can play at that level, and then we give you contact information, and then inside the software we give you some things to think about to give you the best opportunity to be in position to receive an athletic scholarship offer. So that's what we kind of do. That's where we started. But over the last few weeks I've talked about youth sports in general, and in this one I want to talk about some of the feedback I got from I guess I did a video a couple of weeks ago about youth sports. Is it broken? Is the youth sports, the process of going from age 5 to age 17, is it broken? And so I got a lot of feedback from that, which was interesting for the video. I wasn't trying to create any controversy, but some of the things I got back was, hey, you know, they've taken all the fun out of the game. The kids don't play pickup anymore and just enjoy sports. It's almost like a job now. It costs too much. A whole bunch of things. Oh, they're creating these super teams now, so you know it's really not fair, and just all of these things about the coaching is bad and AAU, or you know all of these. Everybody's got a bunch of stuff about it. But one of the things I do know for youth sports is most of the people that are participating, especially the adults, they really mean well. They're trying to figure it out themselves, and it's an ongoing thing, right? It's year round. So there's a sport going on all the time, and so these things just sort of happen. And so so one of the comments I got back though was the one that made me do this video. So they said, oh, you're supposed to be Sports Solutions. What's your solution for the youth sports problem? And so I have been thinking about that. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. And I think I've come to a conclusion on what I want to do. And I'm going to get an opportunity this year to try to implement it in a small scale. And then I will let you know what it looks like on the big scale. But what I want to talk about in this video is where I think the problem lies. And so it's not all of those other things. I mean, those are all problems, but there's a whole bunch of associations, the Coaching Alliance Association, there's youth sports associations that are trying to make it more equitable. That was another complaint people had. Everybody gets a trophy. I mean, I've been hearing that one forever, that, you know, you get a trophy just for participating. But at the cost of joining some of these leagues, you should get a trophy for participating. You should get something to take home. It's very expensive. It doesn't mean you were the MVP or the best player or you did really well. Everybody gets a trophy because you came out and you went to practice and you went through all the ups and downs. And some of the kids don't even get to play very often. And I think the trophy is very warranted. I don't think it means you did well. I think it means that you made it through. Same way you get a certificate for graduation from college and high school. It's because you went through it. That's why it's a benefit for you to do those things, because if I'm going to hire you or I'm going to work with you on something, I want to know you were able to make it through something. So I think just in those senses, and maybe I'm just a softie, but that's how I think about that. But let's get to what I think the problem is with youth sports. And no one looks at this. I've never heard anybody else say it. It's because the separation happens so fast between the super talented kids or the potentially super talented kid. And so it happens as early as 8 years old. And that is amazing to me. Even when I was going through it, I go, how can you guys make this separation so fast? And once that separation happens, it happens again at 10. It happens again at 13. That's when they hit high school. And then it'll happen again later at 17 or 18 when whoever gets selected to go and play at the collegiate level. That's the last separation as far as youth sports is concerned. And so how is that even possible? And what ends up happening is that those parents that really don't know what's going on as far as youth sports, they didn't really participate, but they want their kids to participate. They start off and they may make well, I won't say it's a mistake, but the initial decision is, let's just put them in rec and parks. Sometimes you can't afford to join one of the, you know, AYSO, NJB, all of these other Little League. Sometimes that's really prohibitively expensive. And I do know they have some programs to help parents that don't have the ability to pay, but overall, those things are expensive. So you end up putting your kid in rec and parks, and you've sort of already separated them because the other kids are going to go and play in one of those other environments. And so let's say you decide, okay, I'm not going to do rec and parks. Maybe you do the YMCA. They always have programs too. It's still a separation. I think it's a step up from the kids that end up playing rec and parks, but it's still a level below the organizations. Like I said, the AYSOs, the NJBs, the Little League, things like that. And so there's a step below that. But what happens is the parents that really aren't into sports but do have the ability to pay to be in one of the other organizations, they come in with the idea that the coaches or that league is going to teach their kid how to play the game. And that is why I think the separation is there. And so you come in at 5 years old, you go to tryouts, right there you can see the separation. I see the parents' faces. When my kids were doing this, I saw the parents' faces when they go, how are those kids so good? They're 5, 6 years old. How is this possible? And that is because you have the kids that are separated. It could be as simple as kids that have older siblings, right? So they get to play with their siblings and go to the games, and they understand the game better, and their coordination is better. They get bumped around. There are kids from families or parents that played at a high level. Maybe it's just they played really high level at high school, played really high level at college. Maybe they're professional athletes. Their kids are coming through there too. And they don't separate them at 5 and 6 as much. They wait. And then finally, it's the kid that the parent doesn't have a clue, put their kid in there, and that kid is just talented. It's just, they don't even know what happened. In fact, they're looking around going, wow, my kid's good. Why is everybody cheering for him? They don't even get it. And it's just serendipity on their part, right? It just happened for them. They didn't do anything special. It's just the way it was. And so they're probably kind of athletic. They just never got into athletics. Maybe the mom or the dad is athletic. Something happened there, and that kid and it could be that kid started playing the right sport, that they're not necessarily athletic, but maybe it's a technical sport. Maybe they put them in golf. Maybe they put them in baseball. Those are more technical sport, and that kid, it just works for them. It's what they are built to do in sports. And so what ends up happening for the first year or two, the 5 and 6 year olds play together, and now your kid's a 5-year-old, and they're as good as any of the 6 years old. They're kind of controlling the game. And what ends up happening there is there are people in the stands. It could be the referees. It could be somebody doing scorekeeping. It could be somebody sitting in the stands. It could be a parent. Your kid stands out, and they tell somebody else. And then sometimes it's just people from travel and club program. They just go from league to league to league, from park to park to park, and they're looking for that special kid. And then one day you're walking back to your car, and somebody comes up and goes, hey, your kid had a great game. You really played well. Here's a flyer for us. We're having tryouts for this travel club program. If you're interested, come in. We really love to have little Johnny, little Susie come play with us. And as a parent, that's your ego boost right there. I knew my kid was special. I knew my kid had it. Of course they do. And now you're off and you're away. So next year, when everyone's signing up for that regular other league, it starts to separate. And really, it happens at about 8 years old. And so there is the piece that no one can fix, because that's human nature. And it's just a natural selection process. And from there, those kids start getting different coaching. They get to play against other really good players. And so they're going to iron sharpens iron. And so they're going to get better and better. And the kids that were left behind, they know they were left behind, because they'll go, hey, where's Johnny? Where's Susie? They're not here this year. Oh, they went off and played something else. But, we're going to go back and do this again. And then they may get disinterested. And so how do you fix that? Because I don't care what you do, any kind of restrictions you try to make on these leagues and they will just separate out. And I'm going to give you guys 2 stories from my area that I live in. One is Snoop Dogg. You guys have heard of Snoop Dogg. I just call him a celebrity now. I don't even say a rapper or anything like that, or a musician. So he was out in this area, and his kids played football. And so our football, the football, I can't think of the name of it, All-American, whatever it is, the football organization had a tight rein out here. What they said, that committee, that commission, what they said went. If you wanted your kid to play football, you followed the rules. So he comes in and he wants to do things a little bit different. He wants to fashion it the way he wants to fashion. Now, normally you say, okay, look, you know what the rules are. Just play by the rules. But he doesn't have to in that sense. And so he decides he wants to do it a different way. He wants to play teams in other areas. He wants to play teams that are not necessarily a part of this. I don't know if it was All-America. I can't remember the name of it. Not part of that group, which is a no-no. So all of these things he wanted to do, and he went and he asked. And they said, no, you follow our rules or get out. So he goes, okay, I'll get out. So he gets out, but he decides he's going to create a team anyway, and they're going to sort of be this independent team. Of course, all of the good kids from the other teams want to play with him. They've got uniforms. They got these cool buses. They're getting traveled everywhere. They're getting snacks that are better than the snacks we get. No more orange slices. Everything's taken care of. And I'm not going to go with who's right, who's wrong in this instance. But what I'm trying to get across is you can't force someone to go play by your rules if they have the talent and the ability to attract people to what they do. And so he started his own thing and he took off. He went from there and he created a whole world around that. And the other league went, their way. But those kids, those really talented kids, for a few years, they were gone. They went with the other program. The second one in my area was the Ball brothers. Two of them are in the NBA. I know Alonzo is injured right now, but when he was in our area, he was the man. And his younger brother, so they were three boys, right? Two older boys. Obviously, if you're playing with the AAU or in that area for basketball, they have these age restrictions, and they wouldn't let the younger kid play with the older brothers, and his dad wanted that. And I know you can say anything you want about LeVar Ball, but I will say this: if a person wants to work with their sons and wants to be around their sons, and they want to make something happen, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I don't see what, I hear how he talks and all that stuff, so I'm not excusing any of that. But that, to me, is what you want in the world. You want those dads involved, and he believed in his sons, and he had a plan for them, and he executed it. And what he did was he said, okay, I can't play for AAU. Of course, they have all the best players in the AAU program, correct? Yes. So what he did was he created his own program. All three of his sons are on there. He creates his own team, and they go around, but people want to play against them, so he puts his own events on. People come to his events. Eventually, AAU has to capitulate, right? What are you going to do? You want the best to play against the best. And so I'm just bringing these things up because you can't fix it. You can't force people to do things a certain way, the way you want them done. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way anywhere in the world. The people that are most talented or have the most resources are going to find a way around your restrictions. And so that is where these organizations that are trying to fix youth sports, quote unquote, fix youth sports, are going to have a problem. Okay, so I threw all that out. So I have what, in my opinion, is a plan, and I'm going to try to execute it this year. There's a couple of programs that I think are going to allow me to do it. I'm going to get some more feedback this week, and I've written everything down. I know what it looks like. I can feel it, and I'm going to do it. So, but it has to have an overall theme. And so how do we fix sports without me going through my whole little laid out plan on what I want to do? What does it look like? What is it that we can say we want to start? I don't want to break apart youth sports. I think it's fine, to be perfectly honest with you. It's gonna work its way out. But here's what I've done. So I believe 2 words can solve this whole problem. I know. All right, stop with the eye rolls, people. 2 words. It's athlete and. And. That and word is the key piece of this thing. So what does and mean? And means, okay, I'm a great athlete. I'm a good athlete. What else am I about? If we get that in our heads, as parents, as coaches, as organizations, everybody gets in their head, athlete and, especially the athlete, if they can answer, if somebody comes up to them, they're wearing this t-shirt, this cool t-shirt that I have is going to be on my new e-commerce site called Hawk Mindset, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But if they can answer the and, it makes a difference. And so shout out to Mark McNaught from S Oceans, who created these for me. It's got that puffed, I love this shirt. That they did for me. And of course, it's my design, very simple, so it's not really a design, but this is the thought process I have. If they can answer and, it changes their whole life, because as they walk through this process, it's going to change how they address being an athlete. I'm an athlete and I've got to be able to answer and. If anybody ever asks me, what's your and? And so in my neighborhood, I had these shirts made up, and I gave a couple out to some of the kids in the neighborhood. I've been knowing them since, they were tiny. And they were in our front yard, we were talking about it. I was giving them out. I called some of them, told the parents, send them down. I had a gift for them, gave them each one of the shirts. Oh, these things are super soft. But I gave them the shirts, and then they were standing out there, and they go, well, what's your end? What's your end? And that's exactly what I want. And I didn't even know. One of the best kids in our area, said, hey, you know what? I play saxophone better than you guys play basketball. And they're like, what? And so people, they didn't even know the kid played saxophone, and I didn't know it either. But these are the kind of things that I want those conversations to be about. And so it comes back to my last point that I was talking about on that last video, and I really emphasize this. What we want is the journey to effectuate the end. Whatever, from 5 to 35, somewhere in that range, most of the athletes are going to stop playing, right? Something's going to happen in there that's going to make them not play sports anymore. But for the time that they're playing, they are an athlete, okay? And so that journey, if we can get them to meet with each other, just like those kids in my front yard, I'm telling you, I'm grinning from ear to ear as they're going back and forth over this thing, because now, to me, they're getting it. And if we can do that, even without the plan that I have, I'm trying to put into place, maybe I'm wrong and it doesn't work, whatever's going on. But if the parents and everybody goes, okay, as part of this journey, we're going to find our kids and that kid's going to figure out what that is. And we're going to pay more attention to them. What else do they like to do? And then if you figure that part out, it starts to build on itself. And that is the answer, because now it doesn't matter when I stop playing, because I've got these other things that I'm going to take advantage of. Because here's the thing, when you play sports, you get to do things and you get to go into places and you get access to things that other people don't get. And so you want to take advantage of that. And if you just look at it as, oh, we got access to this, but really the game is more important, or you know, our practice is more important. No, it's not. It's what's going on around that that's actually more important, because that's going to build you into who you're going to be. So that is the answer to this thing to me. And if we get that right, adults, if we get that right, we change the whole idea of youth sports. Everybody's going to want to play youth sports, because they will see that those kids later on, how they turn out, how they handle themselves in the world, how they present to the world as they come out of the athletic world, will be completely different, and everybody wants to be a part of that. So that's where we're trying to go with this thing. Now, I do have my website, Hawk Mindset. I'm going to try to launch it this week. I'm struggling with it a little bit. It's on somebody else's platform, right? It's an e-commerce site. I'm going to be selling those shirts. Oh, here's another one that I do have. Hold on a second. That's that one. So I'm going to have these, because this is another part of it. So this one's for basketball, because this is where this all started. It started with basketball. And so what it says on it, and it's going to be hard for you guys to see, I'll try to zoom in on it. It says basketball, and then what he did, Markman, his company's really good. They did this puff printing again, but it feels like the basketball pebbles. Really cool how he took care of that. But it says down here, it's what I do, not who I am. And you guys have heard me say that before. And then on the back of everything that we're doing, we're going to put Hawk Mindset on there. And what I'm trying to get done here is that if a kid sees another kid with any of our gear from our site, and we've got other cool stuff on there. I'll talk about the Hawk Mindset website another time when it's actually launched. If they see another kid with that on, you know what their thinking process is. And then I want them to kind of meet up with each other, because now they have a starting point for a conversation. And so these are the kind of things that I think about. I know I geek out on this stuff, but I just want this. I want sports to be the catalyst for creating great people, great minds. And I want these kids to start early, connecting with one another, so that later on they'll come back around connecting with each other, and then they'll do some stuff together, and they'll do some cool stuff that maybe has nothing to do with sports at all, but they know they're cool people. They met people outside of their sphere, and they just kind of come together on their own. I don't think we can fix that. I think we got to let them fix that for themselves. We can get them in the right places, and we can get them in the right mindset, but they got to do the rest on their own. And so that's where we're trying to go with this thing. Anyway, as usual, best of luck to all of you in all your endeavors. Next week, we'll get a little bit more into what we want to do as athletes. It's springtime is coming now. We got rid of some of this rain here in California. I don't know what was going on with that. And so I want to talk to you guys about, you know, practicing with your high school versus your club travel team. Some of the things you should be doing leading into the summer to make sure you're in the perfect position to get to either get access to athletic scholarship opportunities, get the eyes of the coaches, things like that. What should you be doing? What should you be thinking about? And how do you approach all of this stuff? All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.